Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunushumme, washmale. Ohai Gonzalez, guten Morgen, hola, boyo, privyet, kaifa hal. Hale shuma chutore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabi, ab bhalli kare aya. Hosh galde nanayo saya, khuyamora, chivato, chi hajot, kalimera, khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very full of energy co-host, ladies and gentlemen, she happens to be Miss Naila, Shuja. And I happen to be Shahzad Khan. Hello, Naila. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And thank you so much for having me again today, Shahzad. It is such an honor to be here. Now, Shahzad, given the fact that the weather is just unbelievable today as well, oh goodness, it's not fun, is it? Given the fact that it is extremely cold. Well, it's not extremely cold, but it is pretty cold, and there is dry weather expected in most parts of the country. That being said, there is a very cold wave in the upper areas during the next 24 hours. So get your blankets, put your socks on, stay by the heater. If you have one, just be there. And then we have patchy fog, and it's likely across the plain areas of the Punjab as well, and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and in upper parts of Sindh as well in the night and the wee morning hours. So there is a frost, which is also likely in the Potohar region during the morning hours as well. So that is pretty interesting, but at the same time, it is just a little too cold for my taste. All right, so we're going to be taking a short little break, but stay with us. We'll be right back.
After a break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. That's the beauty of live television. After a short break where my wonderful colleague was actually speaking about how it's the cold and dry weather. So for everybody who's out there, please make sure that you keep yourself protected. But while we're at it, there's a milestone the Pakistan cricket team has achieved, and I would certainly want to kind of appreciate the entire cricket team, Pakistan Cricket Board, and for all of those people who made it possible, because Pakistan becomes the first team to whitewash South Africa at home, while Pakistan create history after whitewashing South Africa in the 3-match one-day international series. Pakistan is the first team in the world to whitewash South Africa in ODI series in its soil. Wow,
oh
you know,
God,
so many teams are out there.
Absolutely.
And none of the teams were able to whitewash South Africa, and this is a feat which Pakistani cricket team has actually achieved. But not just that, for all of those fans of Pakistan Super League, I think this one's for you as well. With the 10th edition of Pakistan Super League, the Pakistan Cricket Board announced the pick order of the players draft for the Pakistan Super League Season 10. Two-time champions Lahore Qalandars will make the first pick in the Platinum category. Karachi Kings will choose the second, Quetta Gladiators third, and Peshawar Zalmi fourth. Multan Sultans will get the chance to pick the fifth player, and Islamabad United the sixth. Karachi Kings will be the first pick in the Diamond category. Peshawar Zalmi in the Gold category, Multan Sultans in the Silver category, and Quetta Gladiators in the Emerging category will be the first to select the player. The highly anticipated PSL 10-player draft will be held on January 11th, 2025 in Gwadar, Balochistan, and that's really a great news for everybody who's out there. But that's not the only news that we are discussing about today. See, imagine, Naila, if it's Pakistan cricket team and they're doing a wonderful job, we are here to appreciate them.
Most definitely.
If they're Pakistani engineers, we would do that for them as well.
Absolutely.
If there's Pakistani actor, we will do it for them as well. Now, imagine what I'm going to tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, will blow your mind, and it's because of the fact that a Pakistani doctor has been honored with the Order of Canada for contributions to global health.
Amazing.
And not just that, I think this happens to be one of the highest ever civil award for any individual to get. And you know, to kind of speak about the Order of Canada, I would want people to kind of know over here that the Order of Canada is how their country actually honors people who make extraordinary contributions to the nation. Since its creation in 1967, Canada's centenary year, more than 7,600 people from all sectors of society have been invested into the order. To speak about it, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing personalities with us, joining us over Skype. We're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been joined by Dr. Bhutta Saab. Hello, Dr. Saab. Assalamu alaikum. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Dr. Saab, can you hear us? Dr. Zulfiqar, Bhutta Sahab, please, can you hear us? All right, I think that, there's a glitch in the internet, but while we are at it, ladies and gentlemen, while we were actually talking about the Order of Canada as well, so the contributions of these trailblazers are varied, yet they have all enriched the lives of others and made a difference to this country. Their grit and passion inspire us to teach us and show us the way forward, to exemplify the Order's motto, Desideramus Meliorem Patriam. They desire a better country. Wow.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to get back with Dr. Bhutta as well to kind of speak about it. But while we're at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shahzad, did you know that Dr. Bhutta has published 10 books? So 150 book chapters and over 1,350 indexed publications to date, including, around 250 in the world's leading journal Lancet alone. And he's one of the most highly cited academics in global health. And that is absolutely marvelous, amazing. And he has been ranked amongst the top 1% of the highly cited researchers globally by the Web of Science consecutively since 2013.
Wow.
Amazing.
And Naila, not just that, in 2016, Dr. Bhutta was recognized with the President of Pakistan Pride of Performance Award for the contributions towards education, health, and the World Academy of Sciences awarded him the TWAS Prize in Medical Sciences. He was also recognized by the Senate of Canada with its Canada 150 Medal for contribution to the global child health and given the BMJ Award for outstanding contributions to South Asia. Dr. Bhutta was admitted to the National Academy of Medicine in October 2018, the highest academic platform in North America, and was elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society, the oldest global science academy, in 2020.
Absolutely. Amazing. What a milestone. Amazing.
Exactly. And not just that, I think we really need to kind of speak about where people have actually kind of contributed to their country. Now for Professor Dr. Zulfiqar Bhutta Sahab, I think he's contributed quite a lot.
Amazing.
And it certainly brings back a lot of pride for us as Pakistanis as well. But while we are at it, ladies and gentlemen, an MPhil thesis highlighting the remarkable contributions of Pakistan Television's former Director of News, Shakur Tahir Sahab, has been approved for the MPhil degree. The thesis is an academic acknowledgement of PTV's commitment to excellence in journalism and its enduring influence in the field. You have something really interesting to share. Please go ahead, take a good look. Good morning.
MPhil theses have been written on poetry, fiction, and column writing by some individuals in media. Shakur Tahir stands out as the first personality from Pakistan's electronic media whose multifaceted journalistic contributions as a reporter, editor, news director, and mass communication expert have been chosen as the subject of an MPhil dissertation. Authored by Muhammad Rizwan Tabassum, a student from Urdu department at Rifa University, Faisalabad campus, and supervised by Professor Dr. Muhammad Asif Evan, this nearly 400-page research-based thesis provides a comprehensive and analytical review of Shakur Tahir's 50-year-long career. It critically examines his writings, creative works, and professional milestones. Shakur Tahir, a first-class gold medalist in BA and MA journalism from Punjab University, joined Pakistan Television in November 1968 as a reporter and a news producer. Over his illustrious career, he served in prominent roles such as news editor, chief reporter, controller news, and director news, a position he held for nearly a decade. Tahir garnered recognition for his exceptional coverage of parliamentary, judicial, financial, and diplomatic affairs, reporting on events from over 60 countries through satellite-based on-camera reports. Notably, Tahir is the only Pakistani journalist to have covered 7 Islamic summits, 4 9-aligned movement summits, multiple sessions of the United Nations General Assembly, and the Bonn Conference on Afghanistan. His interviews with numerous world leaders and award-winning documentaries further cement his legacy. As a mass communication expert, Tahir contributed to academia by serving on Board of Studies for Journalism and Media departments at several universities. Through PTV Academy, he organized workshops and training programs for news anchors, reporters, editors, and producers. Notably, 2 of these training sessions included participants from 20 private TV channels. The research scholar utilized PTV archives and conducted interviews with 69 eminent figures, including editors, columnists, reporters, analysts, producers, anchors, writers, literary critics, diplomats, and mass communication experts. These interviews provided invaluable insights, analysis, and critiques, enriching the study. The MPhil thesis on Shakur Tahir's contributions underscores PTV's unparalleled role in shaping Pakistan's electronic media landscape and advancing mass communication. It stands as an academic acknowledgement of PTV's commitment to excellence in journalism and its enduring influence in the field.
This was certainly one of our finest reporters as well, or the Deputy Chief Reporter, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fahad Ahmeddin, to speak about how, MPhil will be actually done on PTV's icon Shakur Tahir Sahab as well. And you know what, Naila, I think this is exactly what we've always spoken about, that we really need to make sure that we make the audiences aware of our unsung heroes. And how essential do you think it is for us to promote all of those people who've contributed in any way and in any walk of life?
I think it's absolutely essential. I feel like it is one of the top priorities that we should be focusing on, and we need to make Pakistan's name, known throughout the world. We need to make sure that the people of Pakistan are highlighted in every avenue, every walk of life. So from sports to, sciences, journalism, especially
space engineering,
journalism,
IT, everywhere, and we've had such guests as well. Now imagine, because Mr. Rehan Jalil was here, and for all of those people who've actually contributed, ladies and gentlemen, we're still trying to get back to Professor Dr. Zulfiqar Bhutta Sahab, so as soon as we resolve our issue. But meanwhile, we're at it. Now imagine, can you actually imagine buying an imported car only for 3,600 rupees?
No.
Like a car, really, literally a car which you can actually drive.
Like a small little
No, not a small little car. Now imagine, I'm going to take you back in time for everybody who's out there. I think for all of those elderly people who are out there, I think this is something for you to cherish, because a vintage Chevrolet vehicle advertisement from the 1930s has resurfaced online, captivating the attention of netizens. The ad showcases a car being marketed at a price of only rupees 3,600.
Oh my God.
The post has garnered widespread attention on social media, with users sharing their thoughts on the striking price difference. One social media user lamented that even a dress at this price is a bargain these days. Another person jokingly remarked, "Beta, wapsi pe ek Chevy to lete hue aana." I wish, imagine, I certainly want to be this rich that, whenever you want to buy a car, you buy a car.
Yeah.
That's it. So the only thing I would want to buy is certainly a car. And this is exactly how rich I would want to be, inshallah, in times to come, that, whenever you want to buy something, that you can actually get it. And for everybody who's out there, I pray the same for all of you. But meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, since we are actually celebrating our hero, the highest civil award of Canada, and to be actually included in the Order of Canada, we're lucky that we have been joined by Professor Dr. Zulfiqar Bhutta Sahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Congratulations.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's very early morning here. It's just past midnight.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. It's wonderful to have you with us as well. So, sir, first of all, what is the significance of your work in maternal and child health, and what have you been recognized for?
I think it's been recognized perhaps for the longevity of the work. I've been working in this space along with my colleagues, my students, and fellow researchers for well over 3.5 decades. So I'm not privy to the internal working of the selection committee. This is all a very hush-hush process, but it's been given and recognized for the work that has spanned a number of decades and has influenced global policy. So I hope that it has made some impact.
Wow, I think it's wonderful as well. But sir, you were born and educated in Pakistan and returned some 40 years ago. Tell us a bit about your journey and why did you move to Canada in the first place?
Well, that's a relatively recent phenomenon, close to my ostensible retirement age. But yeah, I come from Peshawar. I come from a family of professionals and educationists. I grew up in Pakistan, did my basic education, my post-graduation. And then I went abroad for training, which was needed for establishing my credentials and training as a pediatrician with a special interest in newborn medicine. But then I deliberately returned to Pakistan at the time when the Aga Khan University was being established, way back in 1986, to help establish the Department of Pediatrics and Newborn Medicine. And that's where I've spent the last 4 decades. I'm still affiliated with AKU. About 13 years ago, I moved my epicenter to North America because a lot of my work in Africa and South Central Asia was just not possible from the base in Pakistan for a variety of logistical reasons, including the fact that we can't support other countries and move resources the same way as we can from elsewhere. But I've managed my programs and I still have a very large field workforce in Pakistan, alhamdulillah.
All right, so that being said, you mentioned that you were, raised in Peshawar, and that is a beautiful city itself. So given the fact that much of your work is done in cities like Peshawar and surrounding rural areas and various areas in Central Asia and Africa, as you mentioned, can you help us understand why isn't health of the people living, and it's not big in the important cities?
No, I think it's the converse. I mean, the health of people living in cities, especially medium-sized cities, is generally much better than the health and well-being of people in rural areas. Pakistan, as I was just telling someone a short while ago, is a complex, large country with many demographic and geographic disparities. So we have cities where living standards are maybe comparable to where I'm talking to you from tonight in Toronto, but there are other parts of the country where health situation, primary care situation, living standards, water sanitation, hygiene, all of those are probably as bad as you would find in many parts of Africa. So that diversity, geographic diversity, is the difference between the haves and have-nots. And that's one of the reasons why in Pakistan, public health and the health of women and children is so disparate, is so different. You have cities where living standards are good and everybody can get access to basic health care. And you have places in rural areas where people have to travel 10 hours to get to a qualified physician, and there are no qualified physicians in many places. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of my program for the last 30 years or so has been focused on reducing these disparities between the haves and have-nots, between rural areas and semi-rural areas and urban centers. And within urban centers, also addressing the challenges of slum populations, people who live below the poverty line right under your nose.
Exactly, which is why, Professor Saab, now imagine if you are to speak about your relevance in context to Pakistan, why do you think that so little has changed if we are to speak about women's health, child's health as well, and nutrition in Pakistan? We still face challenges like stunted growth, malnutrition, and there are multiple issues over here with people even who live in urban cities.
So the first thing is it isn't correct to say nothing has changed. We've recently done an analysis of even the thing that you just talked about, stunting. And there are parts of Pakistan, relatively poor parts of Pakistan, where stunting rates have gone down very nicely. For example, in my own province of birth, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we have analyzed just the rates of change of stunting in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in comparison to Punjab and other districts, other provinces of Pakistan. And there has been progress. The progress has been commensurate with many things, including reduction in poverty, women's empowerment, and investments in economic empowerment of women through, for example, the income support program, which is largely targeting women. It hasn't happened all over because, we have parts of the country, particularly towards the south, where we're still dealing with the residua of a very feudal system. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, for example, has got rid of a lot of that over time. So there are social determinants of health that need to change. But at the same time, because health is now a devolved subject after the 18th Amendment, is largely a prerogative of the provinces, the action, the leadership, the political will has to come from the provincial leaderships. And it has to be focused on reducing disparities. If we consider these disparities or inequities, which are unfair inequalities, as a way of life, as a standard that we're going to have forever, then nothing will change. But if we determine that we are going to bring everybody up, that we are going to reduce the difference between the haves and have-nots, then things will change. And Pakistan has made progress. You see, Pakistan is one country where we've been able to bring all kinds of vaccines to our children. Now, you can take a horse to water account, force it to drink. We have vaccines available. The delivery system, unfortunately, does not reach everybody. So we need to fix that. We also have seen the child mortality rates have gone down over the last 30, 40 years. But, we add a significant proportion to our population every year because our rates of family planning, our coverage rates and population growth is so high. And therefore we have, as we say, just much more mouths to feed every year than we have the capacity to look after them. And to do that, Pakistan has to invest in fundamentals like women's empowerment and education. And those things have not taken place.
And Professor, we do think, obviously, and I'm sure about it because we, every single day we get to see a lot of our amazing guests and worthy guests over here, and they speak about it, how there's development taking place. But just, in connection to what we were saying, or what you were saying rather, that, there are vaccines available, and, we really need to make more people aware of how they really need to kind of use it. But unfortunately, Pakistan still happens to be that one of those countries where polio vaccine is readily available, but polio still exists. Now, in addition to this, imagine that you've had so much work done in the rural areas of Pakistan that all of a sudden, after going through your work, it looks like as if you prioritize people in the rural areas, but you do not prioritize people in urban centers.
No, that's not entirely true. I mean, a lot of our program has also looked at urban slums. We do not prioritize the rich people in the cities because we don't need to. They have access, they have care, and other colleagues of mine from the university do a lot of urban health care. I moved my epicenter and my focus of work 3 decades ago to rural areas because that's where the problem was. And we are very proud of the fact that we've been able to institute interventions and packages of care with our flagship program, the Lady Health Workers Program, which is widely recognized worldwide as a pioneering community health workers program to address rural health care, the care for women, children, adolescents. And most recently, in our biggest project that's coming to an end at the end of 2025, for the last 8 years, we've been working in 12 of the highest burden districts of southern Punjab, Balochistan, and Sindh, in terms of trying to put interventions in place through the Lady Health Workers Program and the primary care system to help reduce mortality. And we've seen a 30% plus reduction in mortality in many places. So things can be done, but obviously we're not the government. I can work in 12 districts, 14 districts. I can show the government what to do, demonstrate through these projects what can be achieved. But then it is up to our political leadership to decide if they want to lift Pakistan up to the level of the rest of our neighbors in South Asia, who have been able to do far more than us with much less resources.
Exactly. And sir, in addition to this, I think where I actually spoke about polio vaccine, which is readily available, the political will's there. I think there's a bit of work which needs to be done at the grassroots, about awareness as well. But while, sir, we're at it, just in addition to this, just clubbing my question to what we've actually spoken about, let's speak about any future plans and projects that will be coming to Pakistan and making sure that how people in rural areas will be empowered, that the child mortality rate is going to go down, and that the women will actually be healthier than they were before.
Yeah.
So there are, and I had the good fortune in the interim government of chairing a major committee that was established to review our health policy and programs, and we did that very extensively, made recommendations. That's all with the government. It's been submitted, it's been shown, but anything which is on paper and never implemented will never have an impact. So what I think now is for Pakistan to stop doing any more diagnostic work, stop doing analyses, but focus on implementation, focus on accountability, monitoring, evaluation to make sure that things get done. All of what I'm talking about, friends, is not rocket science. These are things that have been implemented in other places. And as I just said, with much less resources. I've just come back from Afghanistan. I just came 2 days ago. And I have seen, even with zero resources and a very difficult system, their level of thinking in terms of how they are going to reduce disparities in various provinces is actually far advanced than I would have imagined. So governments can do what governments can do. But let me give you one final thing.
Sure.
You talked about nutrition. You talked about stunting. You talked about poor health indicators. You give me one instance in the last 2 decades where any of our leading political parties has put health and nutrition as a cornerstone of its manifestos, has actually contested elections on the basis of what they will deliver to the people. So all of this is what is needed in terms of lifting public health up on our national scene as not only something that politicians do, but they can take people with them. We are dealing with a situation where, people don't want to take immunizations for polio. That is only going to change when you win hearts and minds of people.
So, Professor Saab, obviously, to kind of wrap it up, certainly, it takes all the stakeholders to come together and be united and, work for the same goal as well. But thank you so much for contributing. Thank you so much, and congratulations on being included in the Order of Canada as well. Your services that you've rendered have actually made all those Pakistanis back home proud. We hope and pray that you continue to do so and serve our communities and the women of Pakistan, the children of Pakistan, and in fact all over the world. So thank you so much, Professor Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And while we are at it, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, we do bring something very interesting to the program as well, where imagine that the species of animals that were only ever seen once Ah, wow. So over the years, scientists have discovered thousands of species of animals, but some species are so rare that there have been incredibly few sightings of them, leaving scientists unable to study them. These include the spotted green pigeon, whose only specimen has been preserved and kept at the Liverpool Museum. Similarly, no red tigrina has been studied nor will ever be studied because it is believed to be now extinct. My
Oh my
God, look at
gosh.
that.
Amazing. This is insane. All right, so now we know that Dr. Bhutta spoke about accountability, and again, we must take accountability. A man recently tried to return a book to a library after 50 years. I
50
mean,
years?
Shahzad, it took him 50
Is
years.
the library still there?
I don't know, man. We, again, viewers, this is a story for the history books. So it took him 50 whole years in Detroit to return a book to a library, only to be told that, you know what, here, you can keep it. It's been overdue for so long, just keep
Not
it.
needed now. You,
Yeah.
you can bring it back. Yeah.
And then we also had the fact that Malaysia had agreed to resume no find, no fee hunt for flight MH370 10 years after the plane disappeared.
Yeah.
Insane, right? Like
Yeah,
that was
finally.
a story in its own, like the history about it. So
True.
in Kuala Lumpur, the Malaysian government has agreed in principle to accept a second no fine, no fee proposal from the U.S. company to renew the hunt for flight MH370, which is believed to have crashed in the southern Indian Ocean more than 10 years ago. The cabinet ministers basically gave the nod at their meeting last week for the Texas-based marine robotics firm Ocean Infinity to continue their seabed search for the operation.
We would like to kind of progress with our show as well, ladies and gentlemen, where certainly we were speaking about Miss Namira Salim, and meanwhile my team is actually going to get her. I think what we're going to do is that we're going to move on with one of our another interesting guest, because now imagine that heart attack actually happens to be one of those problems in the country, because imagine that there's stress, there's hypertension, we eat too
Nihari.
much salt, there's too much nihari, there's too much
Halwa.
paya,
Pie.
there's too much
Oh,
parathe,
goodness.
there is too much makai ki roti, there's everything of too much, there's, so whenever we make a chicken cry, there needs to be butter in it, there needs to be olive oil in it, there's no exercise, and there are newer ways of treating all of these symptoms as well. So ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that to talk about it, we have been joined by an individual who actually has been a very regular on the program, but not just that, I think we really need to kind of speak about our own heart health as well.
Yeah,
So if
that's
you are
right.
to speak about heart health, what would you say?
Oh my goodness, I feel like I would need to get in a lot more cardio. I would start to need, I should be eating healthier. I think
Yeah.
also a little bit less stress in life. Just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit.
So I think
Just
what
a-
we really
yeah.
need to do is that we need to kind of ask this question from Dr. Sahab over here. Dr. Sahab, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Welcome.
Be fine, thank you very much.
Dr. Sahab, it's wonderful to have you over here. First of all, first things first, every time I see you, I feel as if my heart is beating perfectly well as well. So let's get started with heart attacks in Pakistanis. Let's
Yeah.
get started, please.
Heart attack all over the world, it is, these are the figures of WHO, that 17.9 million modern people die of heart attack annually.
My God.
And in Pakistan, it is said that it's the number one leading cause of the death in the people who die annually. Number one cause is the heart attack.
Oh goodness.
So we have to work a lot on the prevention as well as on the treatment aspect of to prevent the people dying from the heart attack. Talking about the risk factors, there are two types of risk factors, modifiable and non-modifiable.
Okay.
So talking about the non-modifiable, the males somehow are at more risk of having heart attack as compared to females, unless they reach the age of the menopause.
Yeah.
At menopause, the risk becomes equal.
And Professor Sahab, Professor Mohammad Malik Sahab actually happens to be the ex-chairman and head of Cardiac Center, ex-executive director, Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences, Islamabad. Not just that, he's an intervention cardiologist. Now imagine, this is one thing which my father actually told me once, that he went to see a friend of his, in a very cardiac unit, or how do we call it, so wherever, the patients.
Coronary care unit,
Yeah,
we call
yeah.
it.
So he went over there and he said, I couldn't really find any women there. It was all filled with men. So unfortunately, in this part of the world, why is it so prevalent with men but not with women? Thank God that it's not prevalent with women.
First of all, it is said that the females, they don't have any wives.
I mean, I certainly do not support such discrimination, but obviously on a lighter
Anyway,
note,
on
yeah,
a
that's
lighter
fine.
note.
Females don't have a wife, that's why. Okay, number one.
Realistically speaking, that the females are protected by estrogens.
Okay.
So before the age of menopause, they have a lot of estrogens in their body which protects them from the development of coronary artery disease. And once these estrogen levels, they come down, then the risk becomes equal.
All right.
So that's
So the first early years when, meanwhile, there's estrogen, just like we have testosterone, you know, so obviously, you know, they're not at the risk, but eventually when it comes down, they're at risk as well. But now, sir, because you happen to be an interventional cardiologist yourself, there's so many other techniques that we see on social media, how, you know, some heart malfunctions are being treated by pumping blood all over the body, they're putting some, you know, pressure pumps and whatnot, and they're like, okay, it's treatable. Do you think that these technologies that people are watching on social media are very effective?
well, that is called EECP.
Okay.
That came into markets, say about 20 years back. So it's another mode of treatment for the heart disease. Those patients who are denied any stenting or bypass surgery, they have this option. They can opt for it. There is symptomatic relief in some patients, but again, it is said that it's a painful procedure. You have to lie on the bed tied up, and you have to keep up lying for about an hour, and you have 35 sessions
something like that
to complete the treatment.
And this is where it actually gets tricky. See, you know, when somebody actually told me that you need to go for 35 or 40 sessions, it looked like as a very lucrative business model to me, that every time you go, you lie down over there, you give 10,000 rupees, and you know, so imagine 37 or 40 sessions, and you would still not know whether it's getting better or not, because there's no you know, process to check whether, you know, my heart's getting better or not. You know, so we might come across people where they will be like, oh, you know what, I'm better now, I couldn't walk earlier, I could walk, but that certainly cannot be the way that we can judge that heart health is better. But now, sir, there's one confusion that I've always came across, and that is that, you know, when we're overworked, you know, there are times when your heart's thumping, there are times that, you know, that you get into trouble because you're tired and whatnot, and there's panic attacks, and there's stress and anxiety and so much. What happens is that it's not very easy for any individual to go and get their heart health checked. Now imagine that, you know, the only test that they would do is ECG, which is not a very comprehensive test to see whether something's wrong. And what are the other testing systems which we can do or get done easily, with which we can identify that, okay, yeah, there's something wrong, and then you need to kind of go and seek help from a doctor?
First of all, keep checking your blood pressure.
Okay.
Periodically, say once every 3 months, you must check your blood pressure, and you must know about your blood sugar levels, your cholesterol levels, triglyceride levels, your HDL levels. You know, all these things you must know. At least once a year, you must do your blood tests to know about these figures. And if they are raised or abnormal, you must go for the treatment, must see your doctor and get some tablets to reduce, and then check again whether the tablet is working or not.
Absolutely. So Dr. Malik, understanding the situation that is prevalent, it seems to be an epidemic of sorts, that even men under the age of 40 are now experiencing heart-related issues.
Under the age of 30 as well.
Yeah.
These days it's just getting
absolutely. So they're facing heart-related issues, they're experiencing heart attacks. What could some of the factors be that are causing this illness to be prevalent in such a comparatively younger age now?
First of all, I couldn't complete the risk factors. So one of them, very important, is genetics. Those who are genetically predisposed, they are likely to have heart disease at an early age. I had a patient who was just 18 years age boy, and he had a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
And I did his angiography, and that revealed 3-vessel disease, which was very, very strange at that age. Unfortunately, he was smoking, his cholesterol was high, and he was not really
looking after himself.
careful, not really looking after himself. and he was going through bypass surgery, and
Oh my God.
unfortunately he expired. So that was a
But
very
at this age, you don't really take these things seriously. You're more involved in how the society is perceiving you. You're more involved in, you know, maintaining that sort of lifestyle.
And that's how we say things, na? You know, 18 साल का को बच्चा आ जाओ यार, तू खाया पिया कर.
Yeah.
तो तो उम्र है.
this
You
is
know,
not
all of
your
those
age,
things.
of that,
So I think that people
taking
really now need to
tablets.
kind of look after that as well, and I always keep on reiterating upon this message that at least once, if not, I think at least twice a year, you
Yeah.
really need to get yourself checked up. As Dr. Saab has mentioned, you know, triglyceride, cholesterol. Now imagine that for all of those people, because I go to the gym myself, there's a lot of animal fat that we consume. So triglyceride obviously will kind of contribute to that part. Cholesterol, we never get it checked up, you know. So and even if we get it checked out, doctor ne goli di hai, but we continue to eat whatever we are eating.
And something is really circulating on the social media that cholesterol is no more a risk factor
Yeah,
for the heart
bad
disease.
cholesterol or good cholesterol, yeah.
Well, that is another thing. But I was going through the YouTube, and there was somebody had circulated that cholesterol is no more a risk factor. No, that is very strange. That is very, very bad. Spreading disinformation, and you know how many people will take your words and start following it. And if someone dies, it really falls on your neck.
Absolutely. So I want to just come back a little to what you said before in the starting of our little engagement. You mentioned that women are less prone to having heart attacks.
Yes.
What are some of the telltale signs that some women might experience? Because again, as we see in shows or movies or entertainment, it's the grabbing of the arm and it's the grabbing of the chest. But in women, I feel like it might be different, or is
Yes,
it similar?
Yes, most of the times they get the similar symptoms.
Okay.
Chest
Alright.
pain on walking, or undue shortness of the breath. While walking, climbing up stairs, they are feeling extremely short of breath. Although all the people will have some element of shortness of breath on exertion, but a normal person will recover quite early,
Okay.
like in a minute or so. But the one who takes a little longer time, he or she must consider that he might have some disease. That is the time to go to a doctor and get himself or herself checked.
Checked up, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And in addition to this, Dr. Saab, I still remember that once you were on the show and you actually shared with us how you actually had a 10 or 15 rupee kit in your pocket which could actually avert any heart attack if, God forbid, you are in that situation. So can you please repeat that, because I think it was a couple of 2 medicines or 3 medicines.
If someone thinks that he is suffering from heart attack, or he knows that his heart attack is developing, then the aspirin tablet is the most important thing.
Okay.
Those who are at risk of developing heart disease, they must carry aspirin with them. Aspirin and another tablet which is called Angicid. That tablet they have to keep under their tongue, sit somewhere, keep it under the tongue if they are having chest pain. Aspirin tablet they have to chew.
Okay.
And then take a sip of water. Don't drink too much water, because patients who are having heart attack, they have the tendency to vomit.
Okay.
So they might vomit out the tablet also. So just take a sip of water. This aspirin, it is said, if taken within first hour of the heart attack, it is equal to the injection which causes thrombolysis, which breaks the clot.
All right.
Oh,
So about 20% reduction in mortality is caused by this single tablet of aspirin.
Exactly, and it's
So
only
very
a 5
important.
rupee solution. So you keep aspirin and Ingicid with you, and that's it. Ingicid you have to put under your tongue.
Yes.
Aspirin you have to chew, take a sip of water so that you do not throw up.
That's it.
So, Dr. Naeem, there is a understanding that I would like to gain. God forbid someone in front of me is having a heart attack. What are some steps that I should actively do to make sure that, you know, the person in front of me survives?
Take them to the
and-
hospital.
Yeah, no, apart from that, obviously I'd call, 1-5,
Yes, you have-
but what else can I do?
Resuscitate.
Yeah.
You have brought up a very important point. So first of all, start making arrangements for his transport or transfer to the hospital, and always go to the hospital which is providing facility for the primary PCI,
Yeah.
primary stenting. The hospital which has a cath lab, and they have available cardiologists around the clock. And if the patient is taken there within the first 12 hours of the heart attack, they immediately perform coronary angiography and they put in a stent.
Okay.
Because earlier it is, the better it is.
True.
If you save the time, you save the muscle.
Oh,
whatever treatment we are offering to the heart attack patients, it is all the treatment is to prevent the muscle damage. Where maybe it is coronary stenting, maybe it is bypass, maybe it is the tablets. So you have to salvage the and save the muscle of the heart. So more muscle is damaged, the patient is gone.
Yeah.
Exactly. And while all of this is being said, sir, now there's a very, I think, concerning element, and that is that now imagine that most of the times, and I would want you to kind of speak about it, because imagine that you've been the ex-executive director of Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences yourself, ex-chairman and head of Cardiac Center, so there's so much that you've achieved. Now, unfortunately, sir, there are malpractices over here as well. And I've come across cases where there were cardiac surgeons, who have actually put in stents. Now, imagine not just that, where they were not needed, number one. Number two, I've actually come across a case over here in a hospital in Islamabad, a private hospital, where a cardiac surgeon himself was keeping the stents from the hospital in his pocket and putting some other stents into people's hearts as well. Now imagine with all of these cases, and this is no misinformation, this is no disinformation. If anybody wants to kind of rectify it, I can come and kind of speak with you. How do you think that we can actually have a standard operating procedure where people are actually confident that, okay, if we are going to get in, into any hospital, that they will not put stents without it being required?
Fortunately, I just wanted to tell you that now I am a part of the Islamabad Healthcare Regulatory Authority.
Mashallah.
So that comes under my domain to
Kya baat
check
hai.
all these things.
Yep.
So we have developed clinical guidelines for the hospitals, and we are always sending our inspectors to check whether these guidelines are being followed or not. And if we get a complaint, then we take that hospital to task. We don't
Just
really
the
forgive.
the doctor or the hospital as well?
Both of them.
Wow.
Good.
Where malpractice is being done.
And you've observed such malpractices?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
I have observed.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And inshallah, so while you're at it, while you're at the task as well, so I think
Inshallah.
inshallah
we'll
in
clear
days to come.
Islamabad for all the malpractice.
Yeah, and if there's
all the
anyone, I
quacks.
think, if you can get in touch with us, and if there's somebody in the family that who actually really needs to kind of go see a doctor and they're scared of this fact that they might give a stunt just without even them requiring,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we'll make sure that we try to help you because of Professor Doc Sab over
The
here as well.
website of IHRA, if anyone has complaint against any doctor or any
Wonderful.
Hakeem or say any healthcare
Yeah, not just
provider,
cardiologists as
Yeah.
well, so any other
any
issue.
healthcare provider, any hospital, please go on the website and launch your complaint, and inshallah we'll take care of it.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. Lovely
Thank
to be in
you.
conversation with you. And, we certainly do need people like you who are actually fixing the entire setup or the ecosystem of healthcare, not just healthcare, people from different walks of life who are contributing. That's what we did even today as well. But while we're at it, ladies and gentlemen, we have somebody in our IT department whose son is actually going to be 4 years old today.
Yes.
So we are
The big
actually
four.
celebrating Salar Pasha's 4th birthday today. So Salar,
Aw.
happy birthday to you. May you have many more. Happy birthday, dear Salar Pasha.
Oh, he's so
Please
adorable.
make sure you bring us the cake.
2 slices.
Exactly. And tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Merry Christmas as well. So for
Yes.
everybody who's celebrating all over the globe, a very happy Merry Christmas. Please make sure that you join all your family members
Yeah.
for a fantastic feast. Remember us all in your prayers. We'll be here celebrating Christmas. Please make sure to tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the morning. Until next time, look after yourselves, stay healthy, wealthy, prosperous, and make sure that you are always full of gratitude. Thank your Allah Almighty for everything that you've been blessed with in your life. Until next time, on behalf of Naila and Shahzad, it's a good morning.
Goodbye.
I was about to say Shuja though. Good morning. Thank you.